Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Heather and today we are in the kitchen and we are going to be working on stocking up our herbal medicine chest. As you know, I have recently been recovering from a round of COVID, but I also have a surgery, a pretty big bone surgery, in fact, coming up here in December. So I am taking a pound of prevention is worth an ounce of a cure approach. And what I mean by that is I am going to be making a herbal syrup today that Rosemary Gladstar has shared on many occasions. You can find her on YouTube very easily. She has also written beginners books when it comes to herbalism. So if you're looking for very simple recipes with things that you probably have laying around in your house, I would go with her guides and information books. Very simple, very easy to read and to understand. And that onion herbal syrup that we are going to be making, I'm going to be taking it up a notch just because I want to make sure and cover my bases prior to going through this major surgery. And this recipe, of course, is going to require onion, obviously, and honey, because that is her basic base, is onions and honey, and that's it. I am going to be adding a few extra things to this recipe, and I will be explaining that to you here in a minute because I actually need to take my onion and I need to half it and then cut it into really thinly sliced half moons. So I might as well put you on hyperlapse for that portion of this video. So I will be back in a moment to explain why I'm adding a few additional things to her basic recipe. So let's get going. All right, so we have half mooned our onion here, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to add them to the bottom of a small Dutch oven here. And I'm also, as you saw in the hyperlapse, going to add in the fresh ginger root that I chopped into rounds along with the onion. And I will also be adding in some rosemary. So the main reasons that I am adding in the rosemary, number one, it's a really good expectorant. So basically what that means is it's gonna help you hawk out that loogie that's stuck in the back of your throat, to put it in delicately. It is also very good for the circulatory system and helping to clear out toxins. Now I'm going to be adding in the fresh ginger root. It's a warming spice. So all of the warming spices are really good for your circulation. It's really good for clearing out anything in your system that you don't want. It's also an immune boosting ingredient, so bonus round, and it just tastes really good, especially this time of the year. Now, onions, high energy substance right here. Energy is in everything, really, if you think about it. So the onion is a really good old time method for taking care of cough, colds, and flus. If you have read any historical books, you may have seen references to onion poultices. It was very common in the 1800s for onions to be cooked down and warmed and then put on the chest of somebody who is experiencing a bronchial issue. It helped children with, say, whooping cough. It was typically put on their chest, usually in a doll, because I mean it is pretty smelly, but it did help the mucosal issues that the viruses tend to, you know, just naturally leave in our system. So very good, very antimicrobial, antibacterial as well. And then of course honey, same can be said of that. This is a raw honey that has not been processed, by the way. You do not want to use a honey that has been heat processed, because it's going to destroy all of the really good nutrients and microbes that are actually healing to your body. So you want to try and find a good local honey to you. So let's go on ahead and get you set up so I can show you how this is put together real quickly, okay? Okay, so have our pot here, or Dutch oven, and we're gonna kind of take the onion and just spread it around in a nice even layer. I had a small onion that I pulled from the backyard this morning that I'm adding in here, and we're gonna do the same thing with our ginger root here. Oh, and just so you know, I did peel this before dicing it into these rounds. And then I'm going to leave the rosemary as is. Kind of spread it out. And now it's time to add our honey. You only want to add enough honey just to cover the top of this. And for those of you who are about to say, ooh, I would never consume this, allow me to say that you have eaten this in barbecue. So I kind of don't want to hear that from any of you, because it actually tastes really good. And the bonus of this is that you can add this into food, okay? So you can turn this very easily into a salad dressing. You can obviously add some vinegar and oil and turn this into a barbecue dip for chicken wings or anything else. Brisket would be good, pork would be good. And according to Rosemary Gladstar's Herbal Remedy book, she and her family, when they were living in the wilds of Canada, completely and utterly off-grid, had learned about this recipe. She can't remember from who. And they just left this simmering on the back of their wood cook stove on really, really low heat. So I'm putting this on ultra low. And they would take a teaspoon of it 1 to 3 times a day, just depending upon how they were feeling. And she didn't ever remember any of them getting sick. Now, of course, that's not to say that no one's ever going to get sick if they are consuming this on a regular basis, but this is going to be a nice immune boosting supplement for me personally. Now, one thing I will say is, of course, talk to your doctor before you start using anything in the herbal remedy category, because herbs are medicine just as much as prescriptions are medicine. So you want to make sure that nothing is going to interact with any prescription medication that you are on, or if you have a health condition, there may be an ingredient that you need to leave out and maybe substitute a different ingredient. And that is one of the good things about Rosemary's beginner books, is she goes through and she explains a lot of very common herbs that we see very simply in our stores and or grow in our backyards. And she explains what you can do differently if you can't consume a certain herbal supplement or ingredient. So ginger may not be good for you and rosemary may not be good for you, but go on ahead and do your due diligence. Rosemary and ginger and onion are good for me. And I'm actually going to be leaving this for at least an hour, because we want the ginger and we want the onion to get kind of mushy in there and start to infuse into that honey really, really well. So it'll take however long it takes. I will let you know exactly how long it takes later on in this video, okay? So now it's just a waiting game until it is ready, and I will show you what it looks like when it is ready so that you know how it should look as well, okay? Okay, everyone, welcome back. So it has been an hour, almost exactly an hour since I last was on here, and our onions as well as our ginger has softened beautifully into the honey. Now, in the cooking process, one of the natural things that has happened, of course, is that the liquid from the onion has finally released. So we are actually pretty close to a syrup stage. So let me get you into position so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay. So as I said, this has been at a very low simmer. You can probably see some of the bubbling here for the last hour. And you can see that it is no longer just a sticky, goopy mass. And our onions here have obviously shrunk down. And our ginger is nice and soft. In fact, I could probably cut it with the spoon if I wanted to. So what I've done is I've gone on ahead and I've turned off the heat, and once again this was on low for an hour, and I'm just going to let this cool down. Now you have the option after this has cooled to attempt to strain out the onion and the fresh ginger, but I'm just going to forewarn you that this is a honey-based syrup and it's going to be a little bit of a challenge to do that. So I'm not even going to worry about it. I'm just going to leave it all together and put it into a mason jar. Now, technically speaking, onion is one of those things that you really want to be careful about keeping for a long period of time, even once it's cooked. However, what I'm going to do once I put this in a mason jar is I'm going to put it in the fridge, and this is going to keep it stable for roughly a month. But onions, even cooked, can and have been proven to attract bacteria. They do not naturally necessarily have that bacteria in them, but they do tend to attract any bacteria that is in the environment when it is sitting out. Now, in the case of Rosemary Gladstar, she was able to keep hers on her wood heated cook stove in Canada towards the back, so it was always kind of just simmering. That is a really awesome environment just all the way around, because it would have prevented any bacteria from inhabiting the mixture. And according to her, they just added more onion and or more honey as was needed to the pot. So I don't have that situation. Obviously, most people on here are not going to have that situation. So we are going to refrigerate this for a month, which actually is about right, because that will get me through before surgery and well after my surgical event. So I will have this immune boosting syrup available to consume daily, and that's exactly what I am looking for. Also, this is supposed to help with cough. So since I still have a residual cough from having had the COVID, I'm hoping this will help kick the cough to the door, because I'd be tired of it. Just keeping it real. Nothing that the doctor has thrown at me, nothing that I've found in the stores has worked against it. At least it's not intractable, but when I do have a coughing fit, it's pretty intense still. So I'm hoping this is just going to kick it to the curb. But I'm going to go on ahead and I'm going to stop you right here and wait for this to cool down. Once it has cooled down, I will turn you guys, of course, back on and you can watch what I do as far as the jarring process. Nothing really fancy, very, very simple, but at least you get to see start to finish what this is going to look like. All right, so I will see you guys in a bit. All right, so as you can see, our mixture here has cooled down, but it's still warm and in a nice liquid state. And I'm just going to add all of this into our jar. Hopefully I can do it without making too much of a mess, but when you have floppy onions, we'll clean up the lip afterwards. This will just incorporate into the residual honey that's in the jar as well. Get every last bit here. Off our edge a bit here. Lid on. Give it a little bit of a shake. All right. And we're good to go. Okay, now I wouldn't be a good vlogger here if I didn't go on ahead and give you guys a taste test. So I'm gonna go on ahead and do that real quickly. You know, I bet this would be brilliant in a Thai food dish even. That was one of the things that Rosemary Gladstar did say in her books, is that she does include it in some of her food dishes. That just makes it an easy way to take something that is medicinal and turn it into food nutrition, because really that's exactly what this is. This is a nutritious substance as is. So let's go on ahead and do this taste test. It actually tastes really, really good. Okay. So now I have my daily elderberry that I take. Obviously I make my own syrup. I'll try and link a video on that from way back when. Here on the channel, I should do an updated video. Maybe I'll do that when I'm in the middle of recovering. that might be a good one to put up for you guys so that you can see what I'm doing currently, because I've made a few adjustments since that video. Nothing major, but just a few adjustments. So adding a teaspoon of this in to that daily shot of elderberry, no problemo, man. And this would actually make a very good salad dressing. Just FYI. Add a little bit of salt and pepper to it and some olive oil. Yeah, man. All right, so I'm gonna sign off here. And guys, as always, keep it simple, natural, and essential. And I will see you on the next video. If you have any questions or comments, go on ahead and drop them down below. We always appreciate hearing from you. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.